What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from AcTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and we're going to be together until dawn. This is a review of the movie Until Dawn. That's the joke. Subscribe. Anyway, this is directed by David O. Sandberg, who you might know from directing the Shazam movies, Lights Out, and Annabelle Creation. And it does have audio description from Media Access Group, which is narrated by Peter Jaycock, who does basically anything that Terry Sheridan has ever done. So if you're blind and have a subscription to Paramount Plus, you have likely heard his voice. He works a lot. So it stars Ella Rubin, Michael Cimino, and Peter Stormare, who I think is actually the only person here who is in the video game, I believe. So click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, join me as we jump into this review. I'm a blind film critic. I know that's weird, but it's actually not, because there are like a lot of blind people. So eventually one of us was going to do this. I guess it's me. I have no shame. That's a lot of it. And I also go in everything blind, where other critics just say they go into things blind, but I don't think they really do. I don't think there's like a simulator. I don't think they know what that is. So I do, and I talk about it, and audio description and accessibility. So Until Dawn, I did not see this in theaters. Didn't hear great things. First of all, one of the reasons why I didn't even get an invite, to be honest. I mean, I'm getting fancier, and I have a feeling I'll get more invites to things. It's also like, it's really hard when you can't just hop in the car all the time, and then it's like Ubers, and if I can't find a ride to go somewhere, then it becomes like $40 round trip to see like a free screening, which just seems ridiculous. So yeah, I waited for Until Dawn to hit video on demand so I could rent it. Sorry. Sorry that this is late. It wasn't getting great reviews, and also I heard that they deviated a lot from the video game. I haven't played the video game because I didn't have a PlayStation. Now, I used to be able to see. I'll tell you that I did watch a playthrough. This is like the only game that I sat on Twitch and watched somebody play, all like from the moment that I joined. It wasn't like from the dead beginning of the game, like they were already in progress, but I basically watched it until the end. I watched somebody play this game for like 6 hours or 8 hours or something. I don't know. It was ridiculous. But I was really enthralled by how well it captured the horror movie vibe, and sort of like the uh, create your own adventure type mentality to it, where you had different choices that you can make throughout the game. Now, this doesn't really represent that. It sort of takes a Happy Death Day approach to it. So the day just keeps resetting, because it'd be really hard to show the choose your own adventure style, how you can have sort of different experiences depending on the choices that you make. But it also lacks some of the star power that the video game has. Not that anybody expected Rami Malek to come back for the film version, but that would have been interesting to see him back in this, and also Hayden Panettiere. So Ella Rubin, Michael Cimino are sort of anchoring this. More Ella, because it's her story. She plays the main character, who is her sister, played by Maya Mitchell, for like 5 seconds. It's a very thankless small role. She gets lost in this town, and we see her, and then it tracks to her younger sister, played by Ella Rubin, like going to try to find her at this place. Like, her sister's been missing for a while, and they're going to see sort of this last place that she was, which is this town. But as soon as they step foot in this town, they're sort of trapped in like this never-ending loop, where they have to survive the night in order to get out of it. So they have to survive until dawn, or the loop resets, and every time they die, they sustain the damage. Not literally, because some people like one guy gets bisected so at one point. So no, they don't like sustain the actual, but they take damage from having done it. Like, one guy has his eye poked out at one point, and then he has like a black eye when he resuscitates the next morning. So they're slowly getting sort of weakened by the experience of dying all the time. And yeah, they kind of have to just go through the motions and figure out why are they here, what's going on, what's the loop, and can they get out of it. They notice that every single morning, one of the friends, Nina, is always like signing them into the guest book, and so they go based off of that as to how many nights they have been in there. But even with that, their memory starts slipping, so it gets to be kind of crazy. But as they sustain more damage, they realize they don't have any nights left, and how are they going to make it out alive? Can they make it out alive? Will they make it out alive? Do you care enough that they make it out alive? Anything like that. I will say, I want to jump into a couple spoilers, but not now. That's why I avoided. That's why that's very vague. That description, that was called a vague description. I wanted to talk about a couple things. First of all, I love the audio description for this. Generally, Media Access does a really great job, and while I will never stop associating Peter J. Cox's voice with the Taylor Sheridan programs, yeah, he actually kind of works in horror movies. I mean, he's got sort of a little bit of an ominous voice. I didn't really quite realize it because he also kind of has a folksy charm, which is why he ends up on shit like Tulsa King and Landman and, you know, just like the broad spectrum. Tracker, he does that. Like, he just does a whole bunch of different shows, Yellowstone. But yeah, it works in horror too. Like, he can sort of do both. But you're here for the gore. Like, you want to know, is the gore described? Actually, it is, to be honest. It's a very gory movie. And unlike some of the other films this year, where some people have like cheered them on because, I don't know, like Hard Eyes, I feel like people really like that. I thought that was like, considering it was branding itself as a horror comedy and really trying to lean into the horror comedy, it was kind of mean for being a horror comedy. I thought Fear Street was kind of a little bit mean-spirited too. Now, Until Dawn just feels like, it feels like it could work more as a horror comedy, but it's intentionally leaning less into the comedy. Like, it's not trying to be funny, it just can be. Sort of like, I don't think Sam Raimi was actually intending for Evil Dead to be a comedy at any point, but he just kind of rolled with it. So Until Dawn has like shades of that, where it's sort of like unintentionally hilarious. Not quite to like Cabin in the Woods level, where you're just like, some of that is objectively funny. It's not quite that, but it's got remnants of that. It's got shades of Cabin in the Woods. It reminded me of that probably the most. I think it kind of squanders a little bit of its potential, which is kind of why I want to go into spoilers. But yeah, I don't have too many problems with it. It's just, is it a great film? No, not really. But David O. Sandberg directed a competent horror movie that I liked at least as much as Hard Eyes and Fear Street earlier this year, if not maybe a little bit more. And it's just as gory, it's just as bloody, but it plays more like a typical slasher movie, basically, except it's not always a slasher. But it plays like that. It plays like all of those Cabin in the Woods movies, like Evil Dead, when they go out and they're in a cabin in the woods, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That's not that funny. But yeah, there was one moment too where I legitimately thought they were going to go cabin fever on us, because they started drinking water, and there was such a focus even in the audio description to know that we all knew that they drank water, that I was like, okay, so they're going to do like a cabin fever thing, because in many ways this likes to pay homage to a lot of other horror tropes and genres, but they didn't do that. They went a different way with it, which is fine. It was kind of goofy. That's probably the goofiest thing that they do, is what the water the reaction to water is. So, I feel like I have to grade it and then do spoilers because you've made it this far and you've been very good this year. So, I know this is like a 5.8 on IMDb. It's like a 43 Metacritic score. I feel like I'm bucking a trend here, but I didn't have a bad time with this movie. Could it have been better? Yeah, but um, I like there's some other horror movies this year that didn't work for me at all. This at least had some potential to it. It just kind of it lives in this world where it likes to rewrite the rules, but I just don't think it necessarily used that to the full potential of what it could be. But yeah, I think I would lean slightly fresh on this. And I think I gave like Hard Eyes and Fear Street like a either a C plus or a B minus. I'm gonna start doing numbers probably, but yeah, for now I'm gonna give it like a B minus. It's about the same to me. What it lacks in comedy, it just makes up in sort of a watchability that I didn't quite have in Hard Eyes and Fear Street. Fear Street has the best audio description track of the three, then this, then Hard Eyes. But yeah, if you're looking for gory horror this year, there's plenty of options for you. Like this movie is definitely gory. I wouldn't let little kids watch this. That would be insane. Nobody, well, I'm not gonna say nobody. Most of the deaths are never good. Very few people die in like a clean way. So, but they keep resetting, so they just keep dying over and over. Acting's fine too. I like Michael Cimino. He just anchored Motorheads. So actually, I'm less familiar with Ella Rubin than the rest of the cast. So I kind of projected onto Michael Cimino that he was the lead, but he's not the lead. He is probably the lead male of the thing though. So Davo Sandberg, a little bit of a rebound from Shazam: Fury of the Gods, in my opinion, which I would have given. I think I gave that like a slightly positive lean too. But spoilers now. Get out. No, stay. Okay, so the reason why I was a little bit hesitant is Until Dawn sort of expands its own universe while the movie's in progress. So like there are things that they notice, like the more times they die, the world keeps expanding. They keep seeing like more of the town. It's this town that like there was this catastrophic like mine thing that happened and like 1,100 people died. And the people there are trapped in this loop. And it's like you either survive the night or become a part of it, is like one of the quotes from the movie that this old witch lady tells Ella Rubin's character. And at first it looks like it would be a great way to do a sort of a continuous change up in themes in let's do a slasher, let's do a different type of horror, like, but they kind of do the slasher thing a couple times, but the kids also openly acknowledge once they find that it's this doctor played by Peter Stormare who's running this like experiment, and basically everybody after like 13 days turns into a Wendigo, which is so weird that everybody turns into the same exact thing. But I actually kind of remember the Wendigo being in the video game. It's been a long time. So what would have been kind of cool, because they almost do it, they're really close to it, is to have changed up like the theme of every night, so that like there was a one of the genres listed for this movie on IMDb is like zombie horror, and I'm like, not really. Could have been though. That would have been great. Like it's not really a zombie movie. There aren't any zombies in it, but there could have been. They have 13 nights to explore. They could have explored all these different horror genres, because part of the thing is keeping people afraid. And if they don't know, somebody says like if they don't know what to expect, then they're more afraid of it. Like if they don't know what's next, they'll be more afraid of it. So if it's just like the guy at the beginning, who like the slasher guy with the mask, which it is for quite a bit of it, like quite a few nights he's involved in it somehow. So yeah, I just would have changed it up. I would have had, and they almost do it. Like they come really close, but then this slasher dude just keeps walking back in, and I'm like, he was great for like the first act, and then the second act, they play around with this like witch that like suddenly there's a house across the parking lot from them. They're parked at this like welcome center, and they could have done so much more with the witch, and that is also it's where the film sort of starts. It started having cracks of like, what are your rules? Like horror movies, I don't like when horror movies don't have rules that they don't even follow. So I was trying to figure out what the rules are, because what Megan, I think her name is, she just dies, like of no fault of her own. She didn't do anything. She did nothing. She didn't. She just suddenly became possessed and then like floated to another room and was like staring at the cork board, and then like her neck snapped and she died. I'm I'm like, if you're gonna do something with that, fine, but like how do they fight that? Like how do they fight random sudden possessions? Like she didn't do anything to get possessed. She didn't like touch something or read a book, or you know what I'm saying? Like there wasn't anything behind it. She just got possessed. I thought that was a little cheap. But also it kind of reminded me of like, okay, so if we're gonna do this, then do it. Commit to it. Change the genre every single time they come back. Have them fight something new so they really don't know what to expect. I think that's what's interesting. So, but too many times they rely on this like masked slasher who just comes in and out of the night, like if they need him to. And I'm like, oh, well, he's back. I did think the water thing was creative. It's bloody and gory and fun, but kind of funny. And how it's used later on, ultimately for them to get out is funny. I'm surprised they all lived. Truthfully, I'm actually really surprised that all five of them made it out. So, that's kind of amazing. And then it leaves with a potential for a sequel. Like, well, David O. Sandberg was like, I got Shazam, so a sequel, so why not this one? Yeah, this movie didn't do any money at the box office. I can't imagine there's gonna be an Until Dawn sequel. So, probably not. I think that's a bit of a stretch at this point. But points for props to, not points, but more like props to David O. Sandberg. I did, when I checked out his resume, I didn't realize it was on the spectrum. And I think that's great for representational purposes that he puts that in his IMDb, like right there to let people know. Because I think stuff like that matters for kids who are looking to get in the industry. It's sort of like why I do this, is so that other blind people can see me do it, and that so other people who are not blind can see it and be normalized by it. But I think it's great that David O. Sandberg is open about his ASD. So yeah, I didn't hate this movie. It's just not my favorite horror movie of the year. But it's certainly, I didn't have a negative experience with it, which is why I have a hard time throwing a Rotten Tomato at it and being like, no, bad. Could it have been better? Yeah, but I mean, I nitpick shit all the time and go, I would have done that differently. I would have done that differently. But at the end of the movie, I felt entertained, and I have a hard time throwing a thumbs down or a Rotten Tomato at something that I felt entertained by. But yeah, it has its problem. It has some problems that it could have fixed, and it could have been better. So yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.